When I said, oh my doubts and demons on their way, every endeavor I have made ever is coming into play, is here and now today.
And yes, my friends, indeed, today it is your moment. Please welcome the amazing, the one and only Emily Harrison. Let me tell you all about her because, first of all, I appreciate all of you. You guys ringing the victory bell for being here and being so amazing. Make sure that you give us some hearts and likes and thumbs up so that we know that you are getting impact here. So before she comes on, I got to say, what an amazing person and an amazing human being. Emily is the founder and director of the Akashic Academy, a modern day mystery school that is empowering humanity to find personal freedom through the Akashic records. By accessing the Akashic records, people can discover their soul's mission, the root cause of physical and emotional disease, and learn to find unseen solutions to their most challenging life circumstances. Now, Emily was named one of the 5 most innovative business women by Entrepreneur magazine and has been featured on Guide TV, Coast to Coast Radio, MSN, HBO, Netflix, Thrive, The Huffington Post, and on stage at Harvard University. That's right, Harvard, where you pack the cat and have it yet. Emily was most recently featured on the NASDAQ billboard in Times Square for her innovative message of self-empowerment through the Akashic Records. Working with Emily can include learning to read your own Akashic Records or attending an Akashic immersion or Manchastra, helping you to reach quantum leaps in your timeline of your highest potential. So without any further delay, let me introduce the one, the only, the person that walked uphill to school both ways in the snow, barefoot, the one and only Emily Harrison. Welcome, Emily. How are you doing today?
What a fantastic entrance. I'm doing great. I walked into the interview today barefoot and in the snow.
Yes, you did. And
some
you know
things
what?
never change, Raja. Some
Never
things
does.
never
I
change.
know. But, here at VMA, here at Victor Muscat Academy, we always talk about, this is fast, furious fun. So the 3 Fs, let's make sure we keep on going. So if you're new to the stream, make sure you click down below. You go to facebook.com/StreamYard and hit accept. That way you can leave comments on the live. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to the fun. So, Emily, a pleasure, first of all. And why is self-mastery important?
What a great question to start off this time that we get to spend together here, Raja. I'm so glad that you asked. And I would love to hear from everyone out there. So let us know who's joining us for this a really high-level conversation today. Also, let me know where you're tuning in from. Because truly, as we have this high-level conversation, as we talk about mastery, we're all going to be igniting our own ability to hold the frequency of mastery. We're going to be creating a grid, a web of connection here together. So I'm coming to you from the high Sierras. Yeah, and let's lean in and do this work. Mastery, self-mastery is so important right now, Raja, because the landscape of our planet is changing. The paradigms that are holding the structures of reality together, from our government to money systems, to food, to relationships, to how we go about choosing our jobs, everything is shifting and changing on the planet right now. We are experiencing a time of prophesied evolution on our planet, of enlightenment, a great time of enlightenment, of awareness. And what this looks like is the places where we have been, maybe I'll say fooled, because we've been asleep, right? We've been easy to control our personalities, our personas through this idea of the matrix, right? We're waking up to our power. We're waking up to self-leadership. And self-mastery requires us to pay attention to the areas where we have messed it up before, where we are essentially creating lives that we do not want to actually experience, because we are manifestors. We are all creators here on the planet. Every single thing that we are experiencing in our life, we created at some level through our thoughts, through our emotions, through our choices and our behaviors. So self-mastery is a an opportunity for us to utilize this enlightenment, this light that's coming to this disclosure that's coming into our planet. We get to see the shadow. We get to take ownership of our own shadow within ourselves, right? And we get to choose differently. We get to show up in a higher level of mastery, of Christed consciousness. I would say we've had many great spiritual leaders, from Jesus to Gandhi, and we're not going to make this a religious conversation by any means.
No, it's not about that.
Right? And the potential of humans and what we are, it's time to step into it. So that's why self-mastery is so important, because there's this great invitation to step into our potential and to create a new civilization, a new way that this planet runs. It's called the New Earth.
Got it. I love it. And that segues very nicely with my next question, is that, how have the Akashic records helped you achieve that self-mastery?
Well, first, I think it's valuable to talk about what the Akashic records are, because not everyone is familiar with this concept. Yeah. The Akashic records, if you are new, are the realm of consciousness that hold all information, past, present, all possible futures, and is recorded from a neutral perspective. This realm of the Akash, or the Akashic records, is known by other names. I grew up immersed in the Southern Baptist religion and church, and in the Bible, the Akashic record is known as the Book of Life. If we were to take a more scientific approach, and if you are into Joe Dispenza out there, anybody like Joe Dispenza? Yeah. Stepping into your power, right? Joe Dispenza talks about superconscious intelligence, right? So the Akash is a Sanskrit word that means ether. Ether is primordial energy. And this is a realm that actually records information. Okay, it holds all potential of what could potentially happen, as well as a record of our soul's journey through time. So when we learn how to tap into this realm of superconscious intelligence, we can begin to see our life and our challenges through God mind, through this higher perspective, where we begin to understand, oh, here was what my soul was supposed to learn in that challenge that I experienced. So we have guidance. We can get instantaneous wisdom, guidance, and clarity from this perspective of God mind, or our higher self, or superconscious intelligence. So when we learn to tap into like the universal guidebook that can break it down for us, life gets a lot easier, right? And we begin to see where we can change patterns in our life. This is actually how we begin to self-heal, is we take responsibility for areas where we've played the victim, and we begin to shift things in our life. We become more empowered. We move into a state of our divine health. And the Akashic records can guide us in those areas where we've been challenged. So healing is one way that I love using the Akashic records, because we all have personal challenges and things in our life
for sure.
That are inviting our soul to learn and grow. But in addition to the areas where we're healing ourselves, and sometimes even healing our ancestry, Raja, we can also tap into our unique genius. Each person on the planet has a mission, has unique genius to contribute here on the planet. And this happens to be the realm of consciousness that Nikola Tesla, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein all learned how to tap into, so that they could receive downloads. They could receive those divinely inspired ideas at a moment's notice, not waiting years sitting on top of a mountain for it to drop in, but at a moment's notice, get the information that helps us to perceive differently and say, oh, aha. So this is, this is how and why we need to learn how to tap into the records, because every human has the ability to do this. And that's my mission, is to return this technology to the planet at this time when we are stepping into higher levels of our mastery.
Great. I love it. So with what you've been doing and how you helped others, I wanted to share something with everyone. And now, Emily, being such a heart-centered entrepreneur, I love her. She's also has a gift for all of you. And take a look down below. Emily, would you share with everybody what are they going to get when they click on that link?
Yes. So I talked about every human has the ability to read the Akashic records, but it's not like you were going to the library and checking out a book, Raja, and you're going to open it and you're going to read with your eyes. We use different senses to read or to interpret
Hmm.
the information that comes from the Akashic records. And these different senses come through
Hmm.
our intuition. Intuition is our ability to know something instantly. Okay.
Right.
We can also look at our intuitive gifts as our psychic gifts, our psychic senses. And
Hmm.
there are four main components to our intuition, to our psychic senses, that are
Mm.
actually very easy to understand. Once you break them down and you
Okay.
understand how they work, you can begin to exercise your intuition in 15 seconds a day. That's what this training is going to teach you how to do, so
Right.
that it can become a reliable source of wisdom for you. So many of us are using only our logical mind
Yep.
to move forward in life, to gather data, to make decisions. We're only using half of our power. You also come built with an intuitive mind, an ability to receive information beyond your physical experience instantaneously.
Yeah.
And the reason that most people don't feel psychic or maybe don't feel very intuitive is because, actually, Raja, since the fall of ancient Egypt, when
Mm.
our society shifted from a matriarchal society to a patriarchal society, these
Right.
intuitive gifts
Ooh.
of magic, right? Of, of,
Hmm.
of our gift to see beyond what the physical, these gifts were shunned. They were perceived as a lot of times witchcraft,
Right.
as devil worship, as something to be afraid of. I mean, I shared that I grew up immersed in the Southern Baptist Church, and we
Hmm.
were taught not to mess with this stuff, right?
Right.
Jesus
Hmm.
can be psychic and walking on the water
Right.
and performing the miracles. When y'all do that, that's going to be a little bit crazy. So, right? So this is
Right. Double
part of,
standard.
right? So this is part of how we're waking up to our
Yeah.
Christed consciousness energy. But one of the reasons that many people out there might not feel so intuitive, or we've been, it's been bred into us for many generations to feel afraid of this, or to feel like this
Uh-huh.
is woo woo, or this is
Yeah.
something weird, right? And we're going to be outcast from society if we really step into these gifts. Many people have shut them off.
Yeah. A lot of
And,
people have.
right,
Hmm.
this is going to help you turn them back on.
Oh, there you go. All right. So there's a
You
link
go.
below. Make sure you click on that, and that is going to help you to start your journey to reconnect
Yes.
to something that may be missing in your life. I'm going to give you a ring the victory bell for that. There you go. After all, we are human beings, harmonic frequencies we all create together, and all of a sudden we create overtones. And
Yeah.
I always like that musical analogy is that, together we make beautiful music together. And the more of us we create overtones due to frequency modulation. And without that, you don't realize what you miss, right? So we're going to dive forward and continue on the conversation. So, Emily, thank you so much. This has already been great. And I want to ask you here now, as we go forward, we're going to shift gears a little bit. And actually, but first I want to ask you, um, you know, here in this segment I call the speed dating round, or like the softer side of Sears. We get to know you as a person, because no one joins a business, they join a person. So we want to get to know
Right.
you as a person. And why did you start getting into Akashic records? Like, what was that change in your life that helped you to seek it out and become who you are today?
Right. Thank you so much for inviting
Yeah,
me to share this, because we all have a backstory,
we all
don't
got a
we?
story.
Um, I definitely didn't start where I am now, in this place where I'm running my own business and sharing this magnificent technology to empower the world, and traveling and speaking and doing all of the things that make
Yep.
us feel so fulfilled, right?
Mhm.
Before I was the founder and director of the Akashic Academy, I was a Hollywood actress, Raja.
Mhm.
And that, while it sounds fun and exciting, and it definitely was, there was also a lot of challenge that I experienced in Hollywood. So I grew up in a really small town in the Midwest. I went to high school, went to college. I felt like I was, going into the box, into the rat race. And that did not suit my personality. I was driving home from campus one day, and I had a download, really. I wouldn't have called it a download at that point in time, but it
Mm.
was a moment of realization with my soul, where I heard my higher self saying, if you don't like this, what you've created, create something new. what do you want to do? And my 19-year-old self, you know what she answered, Raja? She said, I want to go to Hollywood and be an actress. So that's what I did. I pulled the plug on my life in Missouri. I hightailed it to Hollywood and found a manager and an agent right away, started auditioning, and I sucked. To be perfectly honest with you, I was not trained as an actress. I was cute, so I got in some audition rooms, but I wasn't good once I got in there. I was good in my head, but I wasn't able to execute in my body, in my emotions. I was just too green. I was too nervous. So not only did I start studying the craft of acting, I also started training my subtle energy body, meaning meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, doing things that really helped me learn to hone in on my subtle energy so I could relax. I could tap into my potential when I was in the audition room. And I also started learning about law of attraction. And I got really excited about metaphysics. And as I started putting all these skills together, the more I would meditate, the more acting jobs I would get. And so the more acting jobs I would get, the more I would meditate. And I got to the point where I had, worked my way up through the ranks, Raja, in Hollywood, and I was getting a lot of acting jobs. But the truth is, it's a numbers game. The more acting jobs I was getting, the more I wasn't getting, and big ones that I wasn't getting. And it was taking its toll on me. I was a young mom, and I was really feeling that pull between my kids and wanting to be a Hollywood star. And it was hard for me to go back and forth. I also had challenges in my marriage that I didn't have the skills to really deal with in my life. I mean, I was running from a lot of things. My life looked really amazing on the outside, but on the inside, I was hurting. I was struggling. I was depressed. I was taking depression medication. And the only time I really felt good and amazing was when I was meditating. So I just did that as much as I could.
Gotcha.
And the more I did that, my skills really started to turn on. Yeah. Did you have a question that you wanted to ask me there?
No, keep going, keep going. We're gonna continue going forward. And I want to ask you also, like, using what you've learned, do you have a success story of a person that you can say, like, without revealing their name, what were they going through, and how did you help them to find their next soul's purpose?
Well, the first person I helped with it was myself. I mean, I had gotten to this point of just really feeling like I was at the bottom of the barrel for me, right? And a very specific person in my life, a neighbor, walked by. And this neighbor, he didn't walk by, he was limping by.
Oh.
And I said to him, oh my goodness, you're limping. What happened? He said, oh, I shattered my ankle and it's not healing very well. And I said, well, do you want to come over for some energy healing? And I hoped that he was going to, like, as soon as I said that, I was like, what the heck? I'm not an energy healer. I'm an actress. I hope he says no. And he said, yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm going to have to act like an energy healer, right? So I just started putting all of these skills together, tapping into, this higher frequency of intelligence, the Akash, the field that holds all information. And as he came over and I began to just open up and work on him, his father, who had passed, came into my awareness and began to share information that was really, it was strange to me at the time, but I was just, like I said, I was going with it and I was receiving this information. And then after whatever the meditation healing was that I was doing, Raja, I sent him on home and I thought, oh man, okay, I don't know what to do next or where to go with this. And his father, who had come into my field, and that's one way that we can use the Akashic records, is to connect with our loved ones. He came forward and he said, please reach out to my son and let him know that I was here. So I got brave and I reached out and I shared this conversation, which brought such full healing and confirmation to my friend that his father was present. I knew in that moment that I had tapped into something that I could help other people with. And so, I began to help others with the Akashic records and tapping in. There was a client, Cindy, along the way. And when Cindy came to me, she was suffering from an autoimmune disease that caused her not to be able to go outside and to be in the sun. And because she had suffered for decades, she had estranged herself from her family and didn't have much quality of life at all. She was very lonely. And through this process, she was able to understand why she created that, shift it, and rewrite her story in life. She went on a vacation with her family, her kids and her grandkids, to Hawaii. They jumped out of airplanes. They walked on the beach in tank tops and sandals, which she hasn't been able to allow her skin to touch the sun for decades. So
Hmm.
it was a game changer for Cindy. And then one more story that I'll share with you quickly is
Okay.
Robert. And
Hmm.
Robert is a professional. He's a project manager, and he lost his wife to cancer. And not only through the process of reading his records did he learn how to channel her, but he also stepped into his life mission and soul purpose, which was to create a field guide for men whose partners who have been diagnosed with terminal illness, to help them not only keep organization of all of the medical information that comes when you're dealing with insurance and doctors, but also how to care for themselves and how to care for their family. And so he was able to bring forward just a very powerful project that helps men, known as the Atlas Project, helps them lift the weight of the world off their shoulders.
Oh, I love that. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
So let's go through for this next series of questions. Quick answers, three to 5 words. What was your
Okay.
favorite movie growing up that helped inspire you to become who you are?
Oh, favorite movie. Oh, The Matrix.
Yes.
100% The Matrix. Ah,
I
so
love it.
good. Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
And,
just, I think it tells a really great story of um the Maya, or the illusion that we get plugged
I
into,
know.
and
Stay right
invites
there. I
right
got to
into
show you
your
something
Galactic
cool.
mystery that invites us all into be Neo, right? We are the one. We are the one that's here to help us, each one of us individually, escape and to exist in our highest potential. I'm so into it.
Look what I just got. Last
Oh,
night, of all things, I went to my parents' house and I was looking at old video games, and I have Enter the Matrix on CD. Of
wow.
so some of you kids out there may not know what that is, but that's how we used to play games. So anyway, it's kind of funny that you brought that up. How about a favorite book that helped bring you to where you are today?
The Alchemist is a fantastic book.
Oh, love The
I
Alchemist.
actually, I've got 3 coming up. So The Alchemist is one that really inspired me because I feel
Yep.
like it's telling my story, right?
Yeah.
It was such a good one. And then another one, The Celestine Prophecy, is a big one for me. The Celestine Prophecy really inspired me to create my Mount Shasta immersion. So for
Hmm.
any of you lovers of the Celestine Prophecy out there, me too. I said, how can I create this in real life? And that's what we do over a very special galactic gateway every year known as Lionsgate, where our Earth aligns to the star system Sirius. We go into the vortexes of Mount Shasta to activate
Hmm.
codes within our DNA. And it's so exciting. So
Nice.
definitely the Celestine Prophecy. And then Living in Joy was such a
Ooh.
simple channeled book, yes, that changed my life. And it's that I feel like
Hmm.
is coming through from the Akashic Records, a really great book that will just help you very easily raise your vibrational frequency. And when you truly can live in joy, that's when you will vibrate in the frequency of miracle consciousness. When
Hmm.
accessing the Akashic Records becomes very easy and natural to all of us, when we create and manifest very quickly. So
Hmm.
that would be a great book for anybody out there who wants to raise your vibrational frequency. Check out Living in
There
Joy.
you go. Grab those. And I remember when I first started my journey, I one of the very first books that I read helped me sort of start my leadership journey was a John Maxwell book, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Yes, leadership.
Anybody that knows John Maxwell, huge fan. So tell us a little bit more about what kind of music do you love and what jams you up? What's your jam? What do you
Let's
love?
see what's jamming me up right now.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite things to do is to go listen to one of my best friends,
Yep.
and she sings both live and covers on YouTube. We went up through the ranks together in me as a Hollywood actress and her as a singer-songwriter. And
I
my
got to chat with
favorite
her.
song,
Yep.
yeah, my favorite song to listen to right now is Alana Gentry doing a cover of Van Morrison's "Crazy Love," and you can only
Oh,
find
really?
it on YouTube. Yes, that's my current favorite jam right now. It
Oh,
sings my
wow.
soul, opens up my soul. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I love that. And I have to think about that now. I'm like, now I'm going to be like searching for that after the show's over. So tell me a little bit more about what's sort of a fun or quirky fact about you that maybe most people don't know.
Fun or quirky fact about me that most people don't know. Well, this probably won't surprise many people, but I am so into extraterrestrials and aliens
Oh,
and
good.
yes, I had so many experiences as a child. And that becomes part of my retreats now as well, as we do it's a practice called CE5, and it was
Oh,
created by Dr. Stephen Greer. And it's a way
okay.
that we consciously make contact with our extraterrestrial friends. So you probably heard of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right?
Oh yeah,
The
love it.
movie,
I'm a big
right? Okay.
sci-fi fan. I love sci-fi movies and stories, and I'm a scientist, so
Okay.
yeah.
So CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Oh,
And
okay,
here's the classification system. Close
okay.
Encounters of the First Kind is a sighting, which means you see lights or something in the sky. Close
Oh,
encounters of the second kind means that there has been some kind of evidence left behind. So crop circles, for example, are an example of a close encounter of the second kind. Or let's say
sure.
there's a burn mark on the ground or a piece of the ship or something, right?
Yep,
Close encounters of the third kind is when there is an eyewitness of the ship and the driver. Okay.
yep.
Close encounters of the fourth kind is human abduction, which means they take us.
Oh, that's not
Okay.
the fun kind.
Close encounters of the fifth kind is purposeful contact from humans where we're calling them in for an experience.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting, right? And so, yeah, in
Yeah.
all of our
Well, I
retreats, we do C5.
now I know it's it's not readily accepted by a lot of people that there are alien life out there. I
Mhm,
personally, I believe there is. I think the universe is too big. There's got to be someone, something, someone out there that we just don't know yet. And
mhm.
whether we find them in our lifetime or in our great grandchildren's lifetime, it'll happen at some point. We just don't know when. Hey, maybe Elon Musk is sending his next Tesla to Mars. Maybe on the way there we'll cross paths with somebody. Who knows? But a lot of stuff in like Star Wars and Star Trek, where they show how different races, different people, different backgrounds, different ideologies combine and clash and connect, it almost unifies humanity in a way that
Yes.
says, oh, wow, there's a lot of us that we are a lot more similar than we realize. And I think that's one of the main reasons I think we should find intelligent life somewhere else is that we'll finally realize a lot of our petty squabbles here on Earth are really petty, right? Because
Mm.
there's much bigger issues out there. So that's pretty cool. I can't wait to hear more about that. Now, tell me a little bit. My favorite question here: what is your favorite food?
Soup. Any kind of
Really?
soup. I love soup. Yes. I don't know what it is about soup, but that's my go-to. Anytime that I'm in a restaurant, I'm gonna ask about the soup. I'm gonna ask if it's homemade. It's got to be homemade soup though. And I also love making my own soup. I love making it from complete scratch, like even the chicken stock or the beef
Oh,
stock or
yeah.
the vegetable stock that I'm going to use. I do it all from scratch. Yes,
Oh, I
soup it
love
is.
it. I love it. That's so cool. All right. So listen, hang on right there. So I was going to call Whole Foods here. So yeah, Whole Foods. Listen,
Okay.
like
Um,
we need some homemade soup in the green room stat. So while we're waiting for that, I got to say we're going to send you to the green room. And before we shift gears again, I want to ask you first of all, thank you so much for being here. And I want to ask you, what is the one thing that you want people to recall about you?
I would like them to remember one of my superpowers,
Hmm.
which is the ability to take a risk in life, to say yes to your soul when your soul comes calling. Okay. It was a soul call that day I drove home from college campus that said move to Hollywood. All right. It was a
Hmm.
soul call when my life shifted from Hollywood to remind people of their true power.
Right.
And
Hmm.
I know that that can be a challenge for a lot of people that I work with. And honestly, why a lot of people come to me for help and support, is that's something that it's always been easy for me. Maybe I brought it through from my past life of just being really excited to take those jumps and those soul yeses. And I want anybody out there who is feeling like on the precipice of or a crossroads right now in your life, you have what it takes within you to claim victory. Ring that victory bell, Roger. Bring it for him.
I love it. I love it. There we go. All right, Emily,
but it's going to start with you saying, it's going to start with you taking that risk. Okay. And that's what I want people to remember, is that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And that might be just the biggest message that I'm here to deliver today, is to say yes to your soul. Be brave.
I love that. All right. Thank you, Emily. The green room is like waiting for you with all the soup. So we will bring you right back after this next segment. So folks, for those that are following along, up next is our 60-second mindset. So for all of you that have not had a shift yet, it's time to make a splash in your life.
When you throw a rock into a lake, what happens? No, there's a splash. You make an impact, and then you get waves. And then you don't know where those waves are going. Those waves are going past around the reeds, and you don't know where that impact is. So all of you out there, when you're on stage, you don't know where your impact is going to end. It's never going to end.
All right. So in this segment of the 60-second mind shift, let's go right into, Emily said a phrase which I love, and I'm going to piggyback off of that. She said, if I can do it, you can do it. And you know what? It's one of those simplest things. Back in 1954, Roger Bannister, every single person in the world knew no one's going to ever break the 4-minute mile. Then why is it on a cold day in England in 1954, Roger Bannister, for the first time in human history, breaks the 4-minute mile? For the past 100 years, no one else had ever done that or achieved that ever. Doctors had been told that the human body, the heart would explode, the lungs would crush, the bones would break, they'd shatter. Didn't happen. He did it. And guess what happened in the next year? 17 other people broke the 4-minute barrier. And in the next 5 years, over 150 people would break the 4-minute mile. Now, what happened? All that happened was we changed our perception of what was possible because somebody showed us the way and said, you know what? Maybe I can do it. And everybody said, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You ever feel like that when you were a child, where the kid said, oh, you can't climb that fence, or you can't take your bike and jump over that curb, or you can't do that. You can't run as fast as the 8th grader, or, well, who are we to tell other people they can't do it? Who are we to tell anybody what their limitations are? I've been limited my whole life due to my speech challenge, but guess what? I've only recently found my voice. So if I can do it, you can do it. Because I faced my fear. It was only 2 years ago I found my voice. I found this show, and all of a sudden now, I'm still an imperfect speaker, and guess what? I'm exactly perfect the way I am. I don't need to change. In fact, this has helped a lot of people to understand that you can go out there and be the imperfect self. And a lot of you think that you're broken. Let me correct you. You are not broken. You are exactly as the universe intends you to be. So go out there and be you, the real authentic you. And when you do that, when you finally acknowledge that, you will find your voice. You will find your purpose. You will find your passion for your life. So let's bring back Emily and find out whether she saved me any soup. So Emily, welcome back. How was the soup? Is there any left?
It was delicious. No, I ate it all.
Okay. So tell me, what did you think about that 60-second mind shift, and what would you add to it?
Oh, I was feeling it with you. Feeling it in the body. That's what I would say. I'll bring the little Hollywood here and remind y'all.
Sure.
And again, such great training ground for what I do now, because in Hollywood, to be a good actor, we must act as if. All right. So that beautiful mindset that Raja brought us into, I'm just going to invite you, try it on in your body. Feel what that feels like. That risk, that thing that you want to say yes to, that you can do it. We're holding this space for you. Try that and feel it. Feel what it feels like to do it.
I love it. Just visualize out there. If there's any questions out there in the audience, go ahead and post it in the chat right now. And we already got some likes and thumbs up already. Thank you for whoever that is coming around the world. Love it. All right, Emily, thank you so much for being here. You've been an amazing guest. And I have one last question for you. If someone gave you a blank check with unlimited resources, what would be your grand vision to change the world?
Oh, grand vision to change the world. Well, my own, I got two things coming up in my mind. I've got my personal vision, Emily's vision, and then I've got also a message from the Akashic Records about how to actually change the world there. So for me, my grand vision is to bring the mystery school, the online mystery school, into physical headquarters, and to bring about a place to study on the planet, similar to Heliopolis in ancient Egypt, which was the entire town ran as a mystery school. This was actually where Yeshua, Jesus, traveled to study the great arts of intuition and the quantum field. And so I would like to have headquarters, sometimes I call it Hogwarts, here in the areas where people can
I would
come
totally
and
do that.
yes, and come and study and learn and train. And here's what the records were talking about. They were talking about an innovative technology that basically creates energy out of our garbage.
Oh, okay.
I know. That's why I'm like that's so interesting. And
Sounds
so
like
I don't know.
fusion
That's
energy.
is that what it is?
Energy.
Maybe that's your guide coming in. You're the scientist here.
I feel, for me, when I hear that, when you take a whole bunch of garbage, put it together, and all of a sudden you make energy, that's fusion energy. There you go. Because what's happening is you're fusing it together, it releases atoms, and all of a sudden you have this perpetual energy coming out. And it's a lot of people don't realize, law of conservation of mass, the second law of thermodynamics, like nothing gets destroyed or eliminated. Energy is only transformed. So when I went through a really low point in my life, and my origin story started maybe 7 years ago, someone presented my work and left my name off a slide deck, and I could have taken that energy, been angry and furious and lashed out at people. Instead, I transformed it and turned it into something positive. Joined Toastmasters. I started reading books. I started hiring coaches and gurus, and all of a sudden my life changed for the better. And now I look back at who I was then and who I am now. I transformed that energy, and you all can do it too. There is Emily's link down below. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Emily, thank you. You've been a blessing here and really just the high point of my day. Thank you so much. And everybody else who's watching right here on the live, when you're live, you thrive, and on the replay, you get to play again. We will see you some more next time on the show. This is Coach Raja. As always, believe it and become it. See you next time. Bye-bye. All right, hang on. We are still live. We got 3 quick questions for you, then we're off for the podcast crew. Number 1 question, and keep this like real brief. Why did you want to be on the show today? What do you want to accomplish?
I was excited for the synergy of our conversation. You really bringing the science mind and me bringing some intuition and some magic into this conversation, just to let those energies dance and see what comes alive to serve the audience today. It felt powerful.
I love it. And what was your biggest takeaway from the show today?
My biggest takeaway from the show today was feeling the empowerment and the belief that clicked into place. I felt it in my soul. When I said, if I can do it, you can do it. And then you said yes, and shared too. The same,
Yeah.
if I can do it, you can do it. I felt us coming together and holding this powerful space of yes, we can do it. And then just more and more souls like coming in, like building this new element. It was powerful. Yeah,
I love it.
felt definitely like an activation of cohesion and
Mhm.
cooperation, collective cooperation through humanity.
I love it. Thank you. And last question, would you recommend me to somebody else's stage?
100% I would recommend you to
Yeah,
someone
totally
else's stage.
unbiased question.
As
All
I'm
right.
saying that, my third eye is just like going doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
I know. I love it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Podcast crew knows what to do. We are out of here.